on the PDF, that is. And this is the Atur Ronha Tigon interview. And this is like, these are the words I'm talking about. Francis Boots is a kin, 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 Gakwin Kanaki knowledge keeper and seeker of the spine clan. He has acted as Asquanasi's Owenowes keeper of the house since 1974. At Turan Han Chingyangson deep knowledge of the great law of peace traditions bring him to travel to various native communities across Turtle Island to teach the native language and culture, as well as to officiate Thanksgiving festivals, marriages, and condolences. Aturan Hantinskan played a central role in creating the Asquanasi-based Journal of Indigenous Struggles, Asquanasi Notes, before getting involved in the White Roots of Peace initiative, sharing Indigenous traditions across the Americas and beyond. The first action I participated in was on December 8th, 1968, literally my backyard in Asquanasi. I was working in the shipping department of this big lacrosse stick factory on Cornwall Island, shipping sticks to England, Australia, and Japan. I was told that there was a roadblock just a half a mile away. They had started collecting tariffs at the border, and traditional people from the Longhouse were opposing it. We were not opposed to paying taxes or tariffs. Not long after, we were not supposed. We're not supposed to pay taxes or tariffs. Not long after that, I joined that roadblock, and I remembered big fat policemen walking in unison towards us. And before you knew it, they threw us in the car and drove us away. In jail, we asked what we had been arrested, what they had arrested us for. Is just blocking the road against the law? That was my first political activity, and it changed my life. I quit my job after that and became involved in Asquanasi Notes, which was born at the time. Shortly after, we formed a communication groups and started traveling to Vermont, a neighboring high school and university. At the same time, I got involved in the traditional chief councils. Now hold on a second. I got something on my thing. Hold on a second. I'm supposed to clean all my glasses out, but it didn't. There we go. Sorry, buddy. Let me get some water. People need to know people need to know that in this community we have an elected system of government that is imposed on us. And then we have traditional government that is struggling to maintain culture, treaty, environmental, and land rights. That's what traditional people are all about. I participate in that, in what the traditional chiefs were doing. It was a newfound identity. When I joined the roadblock, they used the I word with the E or the NESS. Just hit me in the face. I walked right into it, and I've been involved ever since. In its prime, Asquanasi Notes was a major indigenous news journal, not just in the Americas, but all over the world. It became a real hub of information. How it all started is that right after the protests of 1968, the local newspapers had a few articles about what happened. So we reproduced them and made copies that we just distributed in the community. I'm gonna make sure no one's like coming up, just in case. No one is. Okay, cool. The next week we did the same thing. all the reservations were getting more active, and we were getting all this information. And then this man came to us. He was a federal government employee, and he was there to help people who were starting businesses. He quickly saw the potential there. He's the one who organized the information. He knew just how to write the articles, always on the typewriters. So Indigenous Affairs ordered him out of the reservation. But the women said no, he's going to stay here. We invited him to stay here, and we want him to stay here. Eventually, the Bear Clan adopted him into our community, and he was given the name Ro. Everybody, forgive me. Raren Gun Hokwaks, which I have no idea. I'm so sorry, everybody. The way we did it is that we sent the newspaper to the subscribers, but they had to send us a letter within a few weeks to confirm that they were reading it, or sending us a few bucks, or sending us some new information if they wanted to stay on the mailing list. We never charged a free subscription, a subscription fee, and we didn't have any advertisements. That's how it just kept getting bigger. Pretty soon, the post office in Roosevelt Town was completely overwhelmed. It couldn't handle all the mail they received from us. People would send all kinds of things, a few dollars, information, recipes. It was a big job to open all that mail. When all of the sudden the universities, the libraries, institutions, they all started buying the newspaper. So we received piles and piles of checks. I never forget how we had to make all the packages by hand in my mother's kitchen, thousands of them, sending all the bundles for the different zip codes. It was very hard labor, but we were really happy to doing it. My mother had to move her kitchen to the other room. There were people coming from all over Indigenous country to see how our newspaper worked. They were sleeping in tents all around my father's house. It was a hub for the community. People were sitting around reading these letters from all over the world. Nobody ever got a salary, not even, here we go again, the Rarhakgenwats. We gave out all the money we received to people who needed it for funerals and other things. That's the way it was. When I was 28 years old, some 40 years ago, I was designated as a Awanwes. Awannes. Sorry, everybody. This is the title of the head of the Law of Great Peace, men's fire under the Law of Great Peace. What they call the war chief in English, but the true role of the Onowes was to be the keeper of the house, meaning to protect our community, as much in the case of everyday family issues as for emergencies, like when the territory was to be defended against an attack, according to the original instructions of the Great Law of Peace. The role of the Owan West is based on three principles: the power of a good mind, peace, and strength. Since our confederacy was established, there has always been a man's fire, a warrior society, whose responsibility is to organize the defense of the territory. There's a long history of it. It has been part of our way of life since time immemorial. In the past, whenever there's warrior society territories needed assistance, our chiefs would counsel and send the warrior society there if necessary. We would put up defenses and bear arms to defend ourselves. Throughout my time as a head of the man's fire, I was called to give assistance to other indigenous peoples all over the continent. We were experiencing in reservations. One of the leaders of the Al- Alcatraz, Richard Okies, was from Aquanasi. It wasn't easy to coordinate because all the people who were from Hungary. We were we were there then. Well, okay, hold on. We were there when the trail was broken of broken treaties across the United States to occupy the offices of the Bureau of Indigenous Affairs. Things like that. People were rightfully looking, making sure no one can. If someone does just go ahead and bring them up if you don't mind. Unless Tess Tess Tescaruceras from the Carolinas. I didn't know who let them in the building. Boy, they were mad. They were angry. They were hurt. Please? Is it me? Am I good? Anybody else can reply to it? Please? Am I good? Alright, doing fine to me. Okay, good on mine. Okay, good. They started talking. I started taking all the equipment from the offices and putting started making weapons out of the table legs. To me, that crossed the line. So I told my folks, quote, this is not going to have a supposed to be their building. Do they act like this at home? So where was the pipe ceremony? And everybody settled right down. Wait. So there was a pipe ceremony and everybody settled right down. The people came down from the roofs and the cops were all we would not influence the Lakota though, because they already had it right in our opinion. We supported them the best way we could, but they had everything. They had their pipe, they had their